Now that we have created our project and we have our drawing open, our project drawing that is, we can see that it's an ordinary Autocad drawing. We have devices which are represented by ordinary Autocad blocks, but we need a fire alarm control panel. So we'll take the FireCAD palette, we'll navigate to the Device tab, and once we get to the Device tab, we'll filter, type in NFS, and find a fire alarm control panel which we will put in the electric room. We left-click to place the panel, and then right-click to terminate the command. Optionally, we can give it a name. At this point, let's just take a minute to understand a fundamental part of how FireCAD works. The fire alarm panel that we have put on the drawing has a name, FACP. That name is represented by an attribute that FireCAD has added to the Autocad block. If this were an ordinary Autocad drawing, we would change the attribute using the manner we're looking at now, which is the Autocad Enhanced Attribute Editor. In this case, we're going to change the name to NFS 320. Now it appears that we have changed the text attribute, but we have only changed it temporarily because when we validate, FireCAD compares what's on the drawing with the database, and the database tells FireCAD to change the attribute back to what we set it for using the FireCAD command when we placed it. There are ways that FireCAD provides to change attributes. That's dealt with in another lesson. Now we're going to use the Autocad Properties function to see that the block representing a smoke detector has a name, but it's not a name that FireCAD can recognize. The name of the block is smoke. We see that when we look at the Properties dialog. Now we select Similar and select all of those blocks and use the FireCAD Replace Selection with Device to choose an actual smoke detector with a base to replace that block with. Not only that block, but all of the blocks that we just selected. The name of this block that replaced the block called smoke is a long name, but one that FireCAD recognizes. That's how FireCAD keeps track of what's on the drawing. Now we'll use the FireCAD Replace Selection with Device command to replace the symbols representing the horn strobes. In this case, after selecting all of those blocks, we're going to replace them all with a P2RL, which we find by filtering and then selecting. All of those blocks have been replaced. We look around our drawing. Now we use the FireCAD Reports feature to generate a device legend. This tells us that what we think we've done, we've really done, and that we actually have FireCAD recognizable devices on the drawing. In most cases, we'll want to draw polylines between devices to represent the wire paths. With FireCAD, wire paths can represent conduit cable, wire troughs, or any other type of wireway. There are 4 ways that FireCAD provides, and we're going to see each of those ways now. FireCAD is automatically drawing the wire paths. And now the Otto Spline, which just makes it possible to put the spline specifically where we want it. You'll notice that these lines trim at the edge of the blocks when we terminate the command. With each of the FireCAD draw tools, although it has its advantages, we'll use the one that enables us to get our lines exactly where we want them, which is the Auto Poly tool. Of course, you can use any one of the features that you wish to. When we use Auto Poly, it's a good idea to set ortho on so that your polylines are nice and neat and orthogonal with a filleted radius where they bend. Again, the lines trim automatically at the bounding edge of the block when we terminate the command. In this case, we're showing the specific routing of the wiring between the monitor modules and the water flow and tamper switches. We're also showing the routing of the SLC circuit between the SLC devices. And now we draw our wire path as though it goes through the door opening and over into the elevator lobby. Again, terminating the command. At each device by left-clicking inside the bounds of the device and then right-clicking to terminate the line, and then clicking Enter. Now we're going to fast forward and see that we have put all the wire paths in place. Now that we have wire paths in place, we are going to connect our devices to the circuits. We do that by selecting the Circuits tab on the FireCAD palette. Choosing the drop box, we select circuit L1, which in this case represents an SLC circuit. We click the Connect button, and any devices which are suitable to connect to an SLC are highlighted in green. You'll notice that the NAC devices do not highlight because, of course, they can't be connected to an SLC circuit. We always want to select our devices in the order in which we want them connected to the circuit. You'll notice that FireCAD has automatically assigned addresses to the SLC devices, and FireCAD follows the format of the manufacturer's recommendations for addressing functionality and protocol. We now choose NAC number 1. Now we're going to connect the NAC devices. Again, we want to connect those NAC devices in the order in which we would be pulling the wire and connecting them in the real world installation. And now when we look at some of the details of this Circuits tab, it gives us quite a bit of information, complete details of the circuit, the distances between devices, etc.
FireCAD provides a tool for easily verifying device coverages. This is essential to correctly set strobe candela, speaker wattages, and device placements. We select NAC devices, then click Show Coverage Display on the Circuits panel. The coverage of the devices is displayed. Then, when we are satisfied that we've set the coverages correctly, we hide coverages display. FireCAD provides the tools to indicate the wiring in the wire paths, their types, quantities, and even conduit wire fill, if desired. By selecting Update All Wire Path Labels, wire path labels are applied to all the wire paths. Letters representing the type of wire and conduit are applied as labels to the polylines connecting devices. As we scan through the drawing, we see that wire path labels have been correctly applied throughout the drawing. FireCAD provides the option to assign a conduit type to the wire paths. This is useful for estimating materials and for determining lengths of wires required for the project. We select the entire drawing, and then we set the conduit type, in this case, to be 3/4 inch EMT. And then by selecting either an area or all of the conduit, we can click the Show Conduit Fill button to reveal the percentage of conduit fill in each of the segments. Now that we have completed the layout of the entire system, let's revisit some of the many FireCAD report generation features that we saw in the beginning. Let's do a device legend. We select all as opposed to one portion of the project drawing, and we get a device legend. As stated before, all reports are generated as blocks, which then can be exploded into AutoCAD tables, and then as AutoCAD tables they can be modified by using the ordinary AutoCAD table commands. In this case, we're going to multi-select some columns and delete those that we don't need. And now we'll make the rightmost column wider. On the Reports panel, we select a point-to-point voltage drop and generate it. We select a battery calculation and generate that report. A cable and wire legend lets us know what the abbreviations for each wire and cable type mean. And of course, FireCAD automatically generates riser diagrams. Many options are available. We're going to take one that we have pre-configured for this multi-story building, and of course it's going to show the devices as they are located on each of the levels. We've also added columns here. We can see the detail that's provided in the riser is correctly matching what's on the floor plans. When we are filling out wording on title blocks, it can be a tedious process. FireCAD provides an ingenious tool for filling in the content of the cells in the title blocks. We use the tool to export the attributes of the title block to an Excel spreadsheet. Once the Excel spreadsheet automatically opens, then we go to one of the three rows representing the three layout sheets, and we indicate in each of the cells the information that we wish to present on the final title blocks. Here we're filling in the designed by fields, and now the drawing number fields, which we're going to automatically increment using the Excel increment value tool. We save the Excel spreadsheet, and now back on the Attributes panel, we import the attribute data from the spreadsheet that we just completed editing. You can see that we've applied the designed by initials in that cell, and we've indicated the sheet reference number. This concludes the video, and we thank you for watching. Please visit our forums at forums.cadgen.com for more detailed information.